Data, and welcome to the TNAIW GoGo Power Rankings show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First, to my right, he is the third rascal. He's the star of the show, the one and only Burt Macklin.
How you guys doing? And let me just say a couple the Fugees, Beastie Boys, TLC. We're a better trio than all of them. Okay?
I don't know if we're better than the Fugees, dog.
I'm gonna say it. But you might be right. I'm just trying to build us up.
All right.
He's the hype man of the group.
That's all fine and dandy, but the score is still a fantastic album. I don't know if we got anything that beats that.
It's true.
And to my left, not only is he the godfather of the power rankings, he's the DNA of LL TNAIW. He puts the Lucha and Luchasaurus, the Lucha and Lucha House Party, the Lucha and Lucha Brothers. He's the one and only Lucha,
the brother.
Lucha.
The brother in Lucha Brothers.
Yeah. That's funny.
I put the Lucha in Luchasaurus and the brother in Lucha Brothers.
That's true.
Okay, that's very true.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
If I can just stay on the music theme real quick, me and Datila were just Michelle Williams and Kelly Rowland before. We needed our Beyonce. We needed Luchonce, okay? He's the one that makes this thing go. He's the star.
But on your contract, it says I have to refer you to the star as the star of the show.
Okay, then.
Legally, you are the star. Legally.
But Lucha's contributions don't show up on the stat sheet all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Who the fuck am I, Pat Bev?
I was going to say more Draymond Green, but...
We had quite the interesting show this week. A lot happened. I'm very curious to see who ranked number one. Are the Machine Guns still number one like always? I still hope to see someday Johnny Swinger on those power rankings. And it's not just to upset Lucha. It's he.
I don't want to disagree with you, but these rankings are too prestigious for Johnny Swinger to show up on them. Unless the man just goes on a win streak, you got to earn that spot.
He better win that world title if he wants to.
Exactly.
Number one. And if Johnny Swinger wins that world title, we got bigger problems.
Hashtag Johnny Swinger for power ranking.
Hey, you chill out.
That's enough of that.
Okay. But who do you expect to see on this week's power rankings?
Well, me, I expect to see Kenny K-I-N-G King because
remix.
I think it's time for him to. I think it's time for him to get a shine and take a top spot this week. So I hope to see that.
What about you, Lucha? Motor City. Motor City Machine Guns. In Motor City.
When you put the hand up, I'm trying to remember the wrestler that had the handprint on his back that he would give himself a high five. Who was that?
Barry Horowitz.
Okay. I was like, is Barry Horowitz?
He loves to pat himself on the back.
What a great gimmick.
I love it.
All right. So
wait, who do you expect to see, Datila?
Me. I expect to see the Coven. I mean, I think they got a big victory over Deonna Purrazzo. Kylie King specifically pinning her. So that just me.
Let me ask. I'm glad you mentioned. Let me ask you both a question. I think this is their biggest win, bigger than any win they got when they were champions. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, they did lose to Deonna when they were champs, I believe. And some tag team shenanigans. My face, though, like I was in disagreement, but then as you kept explaining, you kind of sold me. So, maybe they might show up on this motherfucker.
I think this is going to be the toughest top 10 we've done, just because a lot of people were worthy of a number one spot this week.
Yeah, they were. It's going to be very interesting power rankings, to say the least. Okay. So with that being said, let's play these power rankings. Number 10, Giselle Shaw. Number 9, Exhibition Champion Leo Rush. Number 8, Jake Something. Number 7, Eric Young. Number 6, Diana Perrazzo. Number 5, The Coven. Number 4, Motor City Machine Guns. Number 3, Digital Media Champion Kenny KING King. Number 2, World Champion Trinity. Number 1, The Rascals.
Wow.
That's what I said.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
Wow, indeed. Wow.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Look at Lucha over there. Like surprised and shocked and
disgusted.
Disgusted.
This has got to be the first time ever that the digital media champion is above the Impact World Champion on the Power Rankings.
yeah.
I have a reason why when we get to that.
Now, Burt, how did you do it? How did you pay? Who did you pay to get your people at number one?
Well, believe it or not, this week I was one of the people who did not vote for them number one. I did vote for the digital media champion number one. So I think more people had our number one. I think more people voted for them number one this week than they did last week. So I don't know. Because again, like I said, I did not have them number one. I had our digital media champion number one.
Yeah.
So I'm as shocked as you. Because I did not see them being number one.
And we're gonna kind of fuck up the whole format this week because this just blew everything the hell up. But like,
yeah, it did.
I'm not a fan of. I mean, I'm a fan of the Coven being ahead of Deanna because the Coven not only won that tag match, but Deanna specifically ate the pin.
This is a crazy, crazy power rankings. Let's start with the first one. I know we normally don't do this, but let's start with number 1 and number 4 and number 3. 1 being the Rascals. Yes, the Rascals are number 1. 3 being the digital media champion Kenny KING King. And number 4 being the Motor City Machine Guns. What the hell happened here? What did the Rascals do that propelled them to number 1 ahead of the Motor City Machine Guns? Kenny KING King came in ahead of the Motor City Machine Guns. Mind you, our Impact World Champion is Alex Shelley. What happened here, Burt?
Well, when it comes to the Rascals, they got a big win to advance in the tournament, and it was the main event. Kenny King, who I feel should be number 1 simply because he retained his title and he beat 2 people. And they added the little info before the thing. Kenny King is the king of triple threat matches. I believe they said that he had 3 defenses of the X Division Championship back in the day. And like I just said, he beat the former champion, Joe Henry, and a future champion, Yuya Uemura. So I would switch him with the Rascals. I would keep Trinity at number 2. But yeah, I think Kenny King deserves to be number 1 this week. That's just my opinion.
Lucha?
I'm not down with the Rascals being at 1.
Don't say that in front of Burt.
I'll say it in front of,
okay
beside, behind, diagonally from. You know me, Motor City Machine Guns should remain near the top of the mountain, considering that half of them is the world champion. If there's anyone that should be in front of him, it is Trinity. She's also the world champion. It's the Heavy Rascals influence in the committee is crazy to me also.
Smoke them if you got them.
And it seems like the committee got them.
Yeah.
We're smoking that Rascals pack in the committee.
I was not expecting this at all.
And they didn't even beat like a tag team who's, you know what I'm saying, they didn't have any oomph behind their win, I felt. Not enough to move them ahead of the freaking world champion, for crying out loud.
I think that ends the Motor City Machine Gun streak. Lucha disagrees.
I will say, though, that why they did not beat a tag team, they did beat Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham, who are two top stars in the company.
That is true. So they're very interesting. Like, I would have thought maybe the Rascals would have came in at number 3, but not number 1. Wow. I'm surprised. You know, that's just Trey Miguel spray painting people with that spray can.
Burt didn't see that, remember?
Oh, yeah, I know. I forgot.
It's not his blind eye. No, it's not in his cable package or some bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, let us know what you guys think about the Rascals coming in at number 1 over the Motor City Machine Guns. So, let us know in the comment section down below.
I don't like it. Who's with me?
Burt, don't get mad. So, number 10, Giselle Shaw. Number 9, X Division champion Lio Rush. Interesting thing, Lio Rush actually got 1 more point than Giselle Shaw. He got 20, she got 19. So, how can would you guys agree that Lio Rush should be ahead of Giselle Shaw, or should Giselle Shaw have been ahead of Lio Rush in this week?
I don't know. There's no realm that makes sense for Giselle Shaw to be ahead of Lio Rush. There's no realm that makes sense for a lot of people who are ahead of Lio Rush to be ahead of Lio Rush at the moment. The disrespect on the committee's part to champions this week it's just really out. It's crazy this week. It's really egregious.
Yeah. What do you think, Burt?
Yeah. I tend to agree just because I do like seeing my champions in the top half of the bracket. So, yeah, I definitely agree.
These power rankings have been something. Speaking of something, Jake something at number 8 came ahead of Lio Rush. And he just had a squash match, or as Lucha likes to call them, enhancement matches. What are your thoughts on that?
Their sentence enhancer.
What are your thoughts on that?
That was a showcase match. That was a beatdown of epic proportions. Jake something looked great in that match.
I agree. This match was all about Jake something, and he looked fantastic. But, I mean, ahead of Lio Rush, Lucha, what are your thoughts on Jake something coming in ahead of Lio Rush?
Yeah, that's something. That's something. That's all I can say that makes sense is that sure is something.
Right? It's something.
Yeah, and I didn't like Lio Rush being number 9 behind everybody he's behind, including a man who just, I mean, I'll give him credit. Eric Young survived murder, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But no.
Okay, let's 6 being Diana Purrazzo, 5 being the Coven, and 2 being World Champion Trinity. What's happening here? I mean, the Coven got the victory over Trinity and Diana Purrazzo, with Diana Purrazzo taking the pin. They came in ahead of Diana. Do you agree with that, Burt?
Say it again.
I said the Coven came in ahead of Diana. They beat both Trinity and Diana in that tag team match. Do you agree with the Coven coming in ahead of Diana?
Yes, just because they pinned Diana. And again, I think that was the Coven's biggest win, even when they were champions. They beat the current knockout champion and the former knockout champion. So, like, I'm completely fine with it. I think they earned that. I think they earned that spot.
I think this is the highest I've ever seen the Coven.
And they're former tag team champions. This is they were higher on the ranks, not holding the belts than they ever were holding the belts. And speaking of, you know who's inconspicuous from their absence? The current Knockouts tag team champions. It's like
Ultra.
It's like people get those belts and then they get forgotten about on the power rankings. Like I don't understand.
That is crazy.
Subculture's not here either this week, I believe.
Yeah, they're not, and they're the tag team champions.
Yeah, there's a lot of malarkey going on here. The
Lucha, I think it's about time you lay down the foot or the chancla.
Yeah, Nike style, because Nike told me to just do it, so I might have to just do it.
And then, last but certainly not least, Eric Young coming in at number 7, which we found out how he survived attempted murder this past week on Impact. I feel like he's been on a roll as of late. And do you think he should be higher or lower than he is, Lucha?
Like I said, he should not be ahead of Leo Rush, a current title holder within the company, just because he survived getting stabbed. Props to him, but I mean, if we don't reward crime, we don't give people number 1 for doing crime. So I don't think we should give people, any sort of top billing or any votes over a champion just because they got stabbed and lived to tell the tale. Like, just because of that, 50 Cent's not, number 1 or number 7. 50 has, did shit that made him what he was. Eric Young just came through and said, hey, he didn't finish his job. So if anything, that should make the Design, who weren't ranked, even lower.
Impact pulling a move out of the Fast and the Furious franchise, wherein in Tokyo Drift you clearly saw Han die, but then in Fast 5 they bring him back as if he didn't die. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Jeez, I wonder where who was it that threw Mickey James into the train tracks? I wonder what that would rank if we were doing where would James Storm's rank if we were doing the power rankings at that time?
We need a power ranking of all people who have done heinous acts to see who's the best criminal.
Abyss, dropping RVD on a board of nails, I believe it was, leaving him for dead.
And he drowned Christian in a pool.
Yeah.
Sounds like some tough stuff.
Now we can't include Broken Matt Hardy throwing Jeff in the Lake of Reincarnation, because that was just, him. He morphed into something different. You know what I mean? That's not the same thing.
Yeah. All right. I guess we got through the entire top 10. Any last comments before we move on to the next segment?
Oh yeah, I want to just add Giselle Shaw, Gianna Perrazzo, The Coven, and Trinity. The knockouts are always shown out on this top 10, and this week just proves it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very curious to see, though, if Jody Thread or Alicia Edwards are going to make the power rankings next week, since it seems like they're going to have a match.
I love how Impact kind of sets up their feuds, and yeah, I definitely think we'll be getting that one.
Definitely. All right. So now for example, I like to call which match has the biggest power ranking implications. Burt, what are the matches?
I'm trying to pull them up. Hold on.
No worry. Lucha?
I'm sorry, say it again.
We're doing our segment of which match has the biggest power ranking implications. Bert's putting up the matches right now.
All right. Yeah, I don't know exactly what matches we got going on, so I'll need to know the card before I can. I do know. Well, Yeah, no, I don't even know who's in that match, but yeah, so I just need to.
Next week we have a number one contenders tournament match between ABC versus Sami Callihan and Rich Swann. We have Boldy Ray, Moose, and Brian Myers versus Samurai Del Sol, Black Taurus, and Laredo Kid. Those seem to be the two matches that we have. So I'm going to obviously go with the number one contenders match just because, you know what I mean? I expect them, just like this week, I expect the same love to be shown to someone advancing in the tournament. So I think that match has definitely the most implications.
So, I mean, not only am I going to agree with you, I'm going to also flip this question because the Rascals were also, their match from this past week was a tournament match, and they won their match and they got number one. Do you think there's a chance that ABC can replicate what the Rascals did and win their match, if they win their match, and get number one the following week? Do you think that's something that'll happen?
I do, just because based on the fact that I assume it'll be a main event. I also assume the ABC will win, and if they do, they are a committee favorite. People love them some Bullet Club. Ace Austin and Chris Bay are two top guys. So yeah, I definitely think that they will be no lower than top three, because you always have to assume that the committee is going to put the world champions near the top. They earn that
for this
spot.
Week.
Well, Machine Guns were 4 and the Trinity was 2. So, you know what I mean? So, again, they're always top 5.
I have to maybe slightly disagree because one of the things that helped the Rascals this week is that the Motor City Machine Guns didn't even appear on the show. They didn't have a match. I think they were mentioned or shown through video.
I'm pretty sure they were in a promo. I could be wrong.
I don't think they were. They weren't on. They were not on the show at all, and I don't think they were shown. Or actually, no, I don't know if they were shown, but they weren't on the show at all. And I think that's what kind of propelled the Rascals to that number one spot. So it'd be interesting to see where ABC lands, assuming they win.
You know, the Machine Guns are just a different, animal, just in terms of, like, I think when people are putting them so high, even when they're not on the show, that just kind of also has to do with what they've meant to the company for so long. You know what I mean? Like, because, like, for example, like, even when Macklin wasn't world champion, it wasn't a guarantee he was going to be that high. But Steve Macklin's not the Machine Guns. He hasn't been a cornerstone in this company like they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to our Knockouts champ, no matter who it is, that division just means so much to the company. That's always going to buy them, a lot of clout. But that's what also makes me sad as well about Leo Rush not being high, because the X Division title is it's not the most important, but you could argue that it is the most important, just because when you look at the people who have come through the X Division, you know what I mean? It is our Intercontinental champion. It's when you look at people who are X Division champions, you almost want to be like, that's the next one. That's the next guy. They're going to be a future world champion. So again, I'm a little upset Leo wasn't higher, and I hope that he is higher next week.
Yeah, next week's going to be interesting. But something, Alien Angels, Heath beat Alien Angels, and Heath didn't even sniff the power rankings, which I thought was interesting.
It was a bad week. It was a bad week just in terms of there was just too many people that I think did more. Even though Heath is kind of in like having a resurgence right now, I think that he hadn't been wrestling a lot before, so it's one match. You know what I mean? I think if he can string together a few more wins, we will see him in the top 10.
He just needs to get that meaningful feud. And what's crazy with Heath is, like, I see Heath and I'm getting DDP vibes out of him, like 97, like late 97, early 98 DDP. So, like, seeing him go on that path would be dope.
You know what? All he needed to do was hit one diamond cutter, and all he needs to do is hit one wake-up call. So, yeah, that's a great comparison.
I agree. All right. Well, I guess any last comments or comments or...
I believe Lucha's got some great content he needs to plug.
Yes, and we will get to that. Just give me 1 second. All right. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. I do apologize for last week. I don't know what happened with my editing software, so I apologize for not releasing next week's episode.
I think what it was somebody in the committee probably got their they found out some information and knew who ended up being number one, and they wanted to make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there's a little bit of corruption going on within the power rankings. Personally,
who was number one? Who was number one last week?
The Motor City.
See, that's not what I heard happened.
Now, who would have the biggest motive to make sure that the Motor City Machine Guns were not announced as number one?
Okay. Because I actually know what happened, but why last week's episode didn't air. I've heard from multiple sources that they saw Johnny Swinger messing around in the production truck. So I think he pulled some shenanigans.
I heard that exact same rumor, but I also heard that Johnny Swinger was interrogated afterwards by TNAIW security, and he said he was not acting on his own accord.
Okay. You heard that here. That's breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. So, all right, well, with that being said, you guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever this video drops or whenever TNAIW releases a new video or whenever they release some new content such as Lucha. What kind of content are we talking about here?
Such as some of the hottest content this side of the Mississippi. We just finished the TNAIW Athena Cup to crown our Knockouts champion. Shout out to Taya Valkyrie in that regard. And now we are gearing up for the 2023 Super X Cup to crown our X Division champion. Look, we have bracketology coming. You guys want to check that? We announced the brackets, who won play-ins. Once you guys see this bracket and see these matchups, I think we're on the way to some good stuff here. Some damn good stuff. Who's winning it? I don't know. I ain't got.
So who's who in that tournament?
Everybody's all 16 cats have a legitimate shot to make the finals. This could very well be an 8-man tag, a 16-man tag, because all the other matches tied and, crazy shenanigans.
The people in Vegas don't even know who to put as their favorite.
No, the people in Vegas are going to be fucked. That's all I gotta say.
Did you see tag team match player? Holla.
If I could predict a winner, I think it's going to be the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Was that a Teddy Long reference?
Yes.
He's always saying someone had to go one-on-one with the Undertaker, man.
Yeah. Thank God none of us have to go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully on our regular scheduled programming. Bye.